Alright, so today I'm going to talk about how to structure your push, pull, and leg day workouts. And what I mean by that is basically what order to do the exercises in. Alright, so starting with the push workout. So on push day, you're hitting your chest, shoulders, and triceps. And which one of these should you hit first? Well, me personally, I like to do shoulders first because it's more important for aesthetics and it also doesn't affect your chest training as much. And you want to make sure you hit your side delts first. Like on push day, I'll be doing lateral raises as my first exercise to prioritize the side delts. This is because your side delts can help widen your shoulders and help improve your V-taper. And also shoulders are definitely more important for aesthetics than your chest. And don't worry because your chest training won't suffer much from doing shoulders first. Okay, so now that you've done shoulders, what do you do next? Well, it's obviously chest, right? So what I do is I start with incline dumbbell press because the upper chest is once again more important for aesthetics and it's also harder to grow. So you should hit that before your lower chest because you don't want to have a saggy chest looking like Andrew Tate. Don't neglect your upper chest because a lot of people, they neglect their upper chest and then they end up with a lagging upper chest but a well-developed lower chest. And then they have to spend time trying to catch up their upper chest to the rest of their chest. And then after you do upper chest, you can do the rest of your chest exercises. Okay, now we've done shoulders, chest, and now triceps. So a good exercise to transition between chest and triceps is dips because it kind of hits both your chest and triceps fairly equally. That's pretty much it for push day, and then you can just finish off with whatever tricep exercises you have. Alright, so a quick example workout, pretty simple, would be something like lateral raises first, and then overhead press, and then incline dumbbell press, flat dumbbell press, and then dips, and then tricep pushdowns. Now, of course, if your chest is a lagging muscle group, then you can maybe train it before shoulders, but chances are you don't have a well-developed shoulders and a poorly developed chest, so yeah, it's up to you. Oh, and by the way, on push day, even though you're supposed to be hitting your shoulders, chest, and triceps, you're not actually hitting all of your shoulder because I like to save the rear delts for pull day because it just fits better and also sort of balances the workouts out. Alright, now for the pull day. So for pull day, I like to start with pull-ups because it hits your lats as well as some of your upper back, depending on how you do them. And also I'm trying to prioritize my pull-ups more, so it's better to do them first in the workout while you're fresh. And then I like to do some sort of rowing movement for the upper back and the traps. It doesn't really matter too much if you start with rows or pull-ups or lats or upper back, just as long as you're starting with back and preferably a compound movement. And then after that, you can go into something like single arm rows. And then after back, obviously, you do biceps. And then after biceps, at the end, you do rear delts, or at least that's what I do. Now, I know that I said that shoulders are more important for aesthetics and that you should prioritize them, although when it comes to rear delts, they're already trained in some of the back exercises, and also your back is important for aesthetics as well. And the reason I don't do it after back and before biceps is because I'm also trying to prioritize my biceps. So it's fine for me to do rear delts at the end of the workout. Although you can do it earlier if you want, it kind of just depends on your personal needs. Alright, so another quick example workout would be something like pull-ups and then barbell rows, bicep curls, and then rear delt flies. Just a very simple example. Alright, so now for the leg day. Personally, I start with squats on leg day, and then I do deadlifts. Now, some people say that it's too hard to do squat and deadlift in one day, both on your leg day. But for me personally, I find that it actually isn't too bad, and I can still get to the deadlifts and put a lot of effort into them even after I did squats. One reason for this could be because squats targets more of your quads and your anterior chain for your legs, but then deadlifts is more of a posterior chain movement, targeting more of your hamstrings. Although there is still quite a bit of overlap, considering that squats and deadlifts both hit your glutes and your lower back to some degree. Although I like to start with squats because I find that they're a little bit harder, and if you do deadlifts first, then you might be too systemically fatigued to go and do squats right after. This is just what works for me, and I don't know, it's not really that simple, but I think you could just try it out for yourself, see what order works best for you. Maybe you like to do deadlifts before squats, or maybe it just doesn't work at all and you have to put them on separate days. Or maybe you could have one leg day doing squats and the other one doing deadlifts. Some people might say, why don't you just do deadlift on back day? Well, you see, deadlift is not a back exercise, okay? Listen, deadlifts are only an isometric contraction for your back, and the main muscles that are actually being worked are your glutes, hamstrings, and lower back. I mean, the only part of your back that's being worked really is just your lower back and maybe your upper traps, just holding an isometric contraction. But that's just my opinion. And also some people say like, well, you can really heavily load your back. But the thing is like, that's kind of like the thing about chin-ups. People say like, well, you can put a lot of load onto your biceps. But the thing is, if you think about it, your biceps can only pull on your forearm bone with the same amount of force, whether you're doing a curl or a chin-up. The difference is that your lats are assisting you in a chin-up and it's being put into a different position. But at the end of the day, your biceps are still producing the same amount of force. That is internally. Alright, so anyways, that's enough ranting. So back to the workout. So what I do is squats, right? And then deadlifts. And then after that, I do Romanian deadlifts for the hamstrings. But it also hits the glutes. This one's still a compound movement, but it hits the hamstrings a little bit better than deadlifts because your knees aren't extending as much on the way up. But with a deadlift, whilst your hamstrings might be contracting at your hip, they're lengthening at your knee, so they don't do as much. But with a Romanian deadlift, they're doing more work because they're not being lengthened or contracted much at the knee, but they're doing the work at the hip. Alright, so after you do your compound movements for quads and hamstrings, then you can go on to more isolation movements. Things like leg extensions or leg curls. And then after that, you finish off with calves. Alright, so a quick example workout will look something like squats, deadlifts, Romanian deadlifts, leg extensions, and then leg curls. And then calf raises. Alright, so real quick, I want to talk about doing triceps on leg day. The thing with doing triceps on leg day is that it kind of takes away from one of the major benefits of the push-pull leg split, which is that there's very minimal overlap between your workouts. But if you do triceps on leg day, then there will be more overlap between your leg day and your push day. And there's no reason why you can't do triceps on push day. But I guess it's not going to kill your gains if you want to, so just go ahead if you want. Alright, well, that's it. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments. Have a good one.